Hi everyone. Haven't made a video in a while. There's been a lot going on. So in this video, I'm going to give just a brief kind of overview of what's been going on with Auravana. You'll probably hear a lot of lightning in the background. It's currently raining right now. So this is where we are. We're currently in Alto Paraíso in Brazil. And yeah, Auravana's been developing almost every day. And yeah, the standards are essentially done. The next version, the third version of many of the documents and the second version of the other documents are pretty well done. I'm just finalizing a few last remaining bits, and then I'll probably publish them today, April, either May or June. So a lot of the errors and the formatting errors, the grammar errors, all of that's been corrected, because I think that what we've now accomplished is we've now accomplished the development of a new academic discipline. I refer to this discipline, this new academic discipline, as societal sciences or societal systems science or societal science. And essentially the standards represent a new academic discipline on the planet. A unique academic discipline that facilitates an understanding of all configurations of society and will allow us, through education and through the adoption of this new set of standards into societal structures, it allow for the emergence of a new configuration of society that I refer to as a community type configuration of society. Other people refer to it via other names, but I think the best name by which we could refer to this new configuration of society that will emerge on the planet in the future is a community type configuration of society, or a community type society. And the societal science standards, or societal specification standards, because they not only specify a new configuration of society, but they are themselves scientific science standard for understanding all configurations of society, will allow for the emergence of this new configuration of society and a better understanding of the configuration of society we presently have in our lives and the past configuration of societies that our ancestors have had in their lives. So I think this is a big accomplishment, and that's why it's taken so long to develop and realize. The documentation is essentially now unified. So there are very few missing, if almost none, missing sub-elements of the system. You can ask almost any question about how a community type society could operate and answer it within the context of these societal science standards. So it's a big accomplishment, I think, and there's very few missing parts. And again, it's like a new academic discipline. You can take all the other prior academic disciplines that in universities and in graduate and undergraduate schools and in all forms of academia are kind of disconnected and not really fit into a unified model. You can now fit them into a unified model, a unified societal science model. So any other academic discipline you could take out and put in this new real-world societal science information systems model that also specifies a community type society. So it's both a real world societal science model, and it's a real world community type information systems model as well. You can take all the other academic disciplines and put them in to this unified information systems model. So yeah, big things ahead. We now have a lot more models. We have, 2,600 figures. I've also been updating the website, although I haven't released the new version of the website. So the website, it's similar in many ways, but also different than the prior version of the website. I think I quite like the newest version. I haven't released it yet. When I release the standards, when I release the next version of the standards, I'll also release the next version of the website. A lot of work's being done. I'm bringing the VR Gallery Museum back up to date, so I'll be sharing that. So if you have an Oculus in the future, you'll be able to experience the VR museum gallery of like Auravana models surrounding. Been working on AI, had a lot of difficulty with AI. In order to train an AI on the societal standards, because of the number of figures and pages, it's like $40,000 to do the whole training. Or you can do a RAG system or work the way that we're currently doing it. RAG had a lot of failures because it's a unified system, so there are elements that connect within all the different standards to one another. It's totally integrated. So one part of the social system might fit to a part of the material system, and the material system might fit or does fit to a part of the decision system. And so using a retrieval augmented generation like a RAG system it just didn't work. I spent some money on that, and it just wasn't very successful. And in order to actually train a large language model on it, costs $40,000 approximately. Or if you're out there and you have some H100s and you'd like to facilitate this process, that would be beneficial, I think, for the entire planet, because wouldn't it be amazing to have the curriculum for a new academic discipline, and then at the same time have an AI that can explain everything to you. So we have an entirely new academic discipline, and we have a tutor that totally understands that academic discipline and can answer any question you have on the academic discipline. And so we need to, because we do use new language in the model, and it's a unified and integrated system, even though it connects to all other systems. There's a lot of new understandings in the standards that are not present in other literature on the planet, and these new understandings require a training of the model. So if you'd like to help fund either a training of the model or the way we're currently working with AI, either way, that would be hugely beneficial. I'm currently working with someone, and we're developing a chatbot essentially, and the chatbot uses some of the other LLMs that are out there and pulls information in a specific way from those LLMs. So what else is going on? Website's up to date, LLM, VR, a lot of figures and models. So I guess now I will show you, the agreement section. Been doing a lot of work on the agreements. And the agreements are now kind of brought up to date. I'm still working on those a little bit, but essentially we have two layers of agreements. The first set of agreements, this is in the project execution. The project execution is now separated into the primary operational processes of any given society. So you have education, contribution, transition, because you're transitioning to a new configuration of society, residentation, and then also justice, which you could call restoration, I guess, depending on restorative justice, restoration. So we separate into some significant primary operational processes of society, even though those operational processes also relate to some of the other standards. So you can think of those as the primary operational processes, like education, contribution, residentation, the dwellings we live in. Contribution is then associated with production. So so the agreements, there are two layers of agreements. There's, do you agree with a community type society? Is that something some place you would like to live? Would you like to live under the relationships that are active within community at the societal level? And then what configuration of habitat and would you like to live in, essentially? And then there are kind of two to that. What configuration in terms of aesthetics, production, and then also the rules governing individual residentation in that type of habitat. So you have customization at the habitat level, and you have integration and unified agreement at the societal level in terms of what a community type society is. So I've been working on that. Those people have asked about the agreements, and we're now quite clear on the agreements. And you can also have education level agreements, and you can have contribution level agreements. So you can have production level agreements, like people have business and contract agreements now. Those are sort of separate from these community residentation agreements, because in this section you're dealing with a residency or residentation within community, and within community in a specific configuration of habitat. So that's what's been going on with Auravana. I'm pretty excited about this new release. I do think it is a new academic discipline that has emerged on the planet, and this new academic discipline, we can start bringing people up to, I mean, how do you change a society? Oftentimes you can change a society, oftentimes the best and safest way to change a society is to change it through its education system. So of course you can change it, the market state, you can change it through the market by reconfiguring the market, which we seem to have occurring now in a specific way. You can also reconfigure it through the state, and the state and the market can help the education system reconfigure, and they can all kind of reverberate with one another, and eventually the whole society will transition. That will take obviously a long period of time to transition to a marketless, stateless, classless, community type configuration of society. Just want to clarify, a lot of people have a misunderstanding when I use the word community. I'm referring to a type of configuration of society. I'm not referring to all of these sub types of communities like your family or your your neighborhood. I mean, I know some people who refer to their corporate neighborhood as a community, or all of these sub elements. Some people refer to their hobbies or their hobby network or their social network as a community. So that's not the way I'm using the term. I'm using the term as a top level classification term for a configuration of society, like the market state is a configuration of society. So I want to make that clear. A lot of people say, oh, I'm glad you're working on community, and then they start spouting out a whole lot of things that aren't, then they don't define community in the way that I'm defining the community. They're defining it in a significant lesser extent and subset of what community actually is. Of course, it represents community for them, and that's wonderful, and they're reflecting community in their tribe or whatever. But this is more of a societal level organization. It's the way that I use the term, and this is described, I think, and reasoned quite clearly in the system overview, of which there will be an update to that as well. So a lot going on with the project, a lot going on with us. I'm going to give you a quick house tour. Just a brief interruption here. We'll get back to the house tour in a second. There's one activity I forgot to mention, Masterminding Eden. I'll leave the link in the description below. Masterminding Eden is a conference and potentially set of workshops. The conference will be held in 2026 to design a sustainable habitat for humanity. This organization, Masterminding Eden, the people who are going to attend the conference are very aligned with our vision. We're here to create a better future for humanity. We see the problems on the planet, and we know we have the potential to create a better way of living for all. And one of the first steps we can take to do this is facilitate the design of an integrated habitat service system. I call it a habitat. They might call it, the other people who are participating in this conference might call it a city or something else, or a village. But essentially, it's a habitat for about 10,000 people that's designed to be sustainable and support human need fulfillment, and within the value context that basically we describe community. So a lot of amazing people on board already, a lot of amazing organizations, and I highly recommend taking a look. Masterminding Eden, great organization. I'm part of the core team, so thanks. Ciao. So we're currently in a home. This is a service room for the home. Fantastic service room. So when they need to service the home, they have access to utilities and additional equipment in here. Nice drainage here. This is the car we're currently driving, and don't want to roll off the edge here, so there's parking stoppers here for the tire stoppers. Very elegantly designed. This is the entrance to the home. And so here we have some lights outside. It's always nice to have lights outside, and quite elegant lighting right there. As the inside electronic door, you see this on a lot of buildings now because it's a key touch. Intelbras is a Brazilian company. They produce a lot of different electrical items.
Hi,
guys. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. Sorry, I'm running late.
Yeah, we are a bit late. So I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. So yeah, it's nice. It's a little bit typically lower quality and lower standard than some of the other companies, but it tends to work fine. not a big deal. So this is the kitchen area, beautiful kitchen area, very nicely designed. Flexible pipe down here. I'm always complaining about gases here in Brazil, but they've turned it into a semi-P pipe design. So they've given us some nice pans. I would have preferred a metal pan instead of these pans, because these pans frequently get scratched in locations like this. We haven't been here for long, but they frequently get scratched. This is a fairly new building, and so it's not scratched, but people don't take care of them. We're taking care of them. This is why if you have a building like this or you're renting it out, it's always best to have a metal pan so that when these pans get scratched, someone like us can use the metal pan instead of getting the PFOAs or whatever chemical compounds are in those into your food, which you don't like. So we have a drying rack here, squeegee here, and of course you can see this is inset. Here in Brazil, they tend to get water on locations. In other countries, you know, this tends to be flat. Everything here tends to be at the same level, but here in Brazil and in many other places like this, they give you a squeegee and you squeegee down and it's inset so the water doesn't get outside. It's nice in locations like this to have it inset, but if you're not worried about high water pressure and water isn't going everywhere, it can also be nice. I mean, I prefer it flush typically, but not all locations can have it flush, and sometimes it's preferable to have this inset. You can see right here, it's actually like an inch or so, a centimeter and a half. So here we have a small trash can and a nice sponge brush. Here we have a nice accented lighting, good stove, Oster stove. So there's no hot water at the sink. This is a brand new home. They call it a chalet, brand new home. And there's no hot water at the sink. I understand sort of why there's no hot water, because they don't have a significant on-demand system, but they do have solar heating above. I'll show you the spa, the jacuzzi in a second. But we weren't able to get any heat from the solar heating, so I don't know what's going on. So of course, we cook with a lot of meat and fat, and so we have to boil water here. They did, and up here's quite nice. So there are only 2 sliding glass panels, which is I quite like, so it's easy to access. Elizabeth had a little bit of a difficult time accessing this because this is a bit high for her, so it would have been nice if they provided a stool. And it would have been nice if we were also able to lift this right here, these shades, because we're in Alto Paraíso and there are a lot of flies that come in the house. So while you're cooking, we had like 8 flies stuck here. Very difficult to get at them when you're not able to lift this, when you don't have a mechanism for lifting the blinds. So that was kind of difficult to work with. You always want to think about that. A nice hook here for hanging a dish towel, or a towel for drying your hands. Nice for holding paper towels and cutting board. And I just think this is very well appointed here and up here too. And not only that, but they provided a lot of extras. So they provided an air fryer, a water purifier, an automated coffee machine, looks like a waffle maker, or I don't use these, a grill, a blender, a microwave. So you can see it's very well done. And over on this side, yes, wood, you can see a nice wood door. Let's see, over on this side, very well. I always like this because you can put your shoes under here. So this cabinetry is excellent. You can put your shoes under here, and over there, it's, you can see the cabinet here, it's closed. And then up here, I often put my suitcases. So it's nice to have one of these in an environment like this, because you can either sit on here, this cabinetry bench, and you can put your shoes on, or you can have it as a place to put your luggage. So another cabinet here, very nicely done. And so mini refrigerator there. And Elizabeth, thank you. She's blowing it. And they gave us a hairdryer. So we have a desk here and a beautiful table here. Again, you can't lift this, so you can't lift this blind, so we were getting a bunch of flies behind here, very difficult to kill. They provided a light there, enough electrical outlets, well, sort of enough. The Wi-Fi is under there, and there was only 1 tomato. When I travel, I always bring an AC extension with additional AC, like a surge protector, essentially, with additional AC ports in it. So I was able to plug it in there, and then we could hook up the rest of our computers here. So, beautiful beautiful table, beautiful view here. Very nice view. Spa, jacuzzi type spa, and an outdoor shower. It's always beautiful providing an outdoor shower, but again, no heat to the outdoor shower, no heat to the kitchen sink, and no heat to the bathroom sink in a new chalet. It's just very difficult to wash when you don't have heat at the sink. So this is the view. Beautiful view. And the curtains were very nicely done. Very easy to close the curtains. And right now it's basically it's blacked out aside from a lot of the LEDs. So you can see over here, very simple, but very elegant. The one thing about this place that we're staying is I feel that it's very elegantly done. The AC is in a nice position. If you don't have that super high, it's blowing this direction and not blowing onto the bed, which you don't want. The bed frame is enclosed here. You can see it's an enclosed bed frame. We're in Alto, so it's dry here. That's not a problem with an enclosed bed frame. If this was more of a humid climate, you would not want an enclosed bed frame like that, because with the changing in temperature and humidity, it's much more likely that you would have mold. So you need to be thinking of, what climate are you in as to whether or not you want an enclosed bed frame or a non-enclosed bed frame. AC outlets near the headboard. Again, this is very nice. Headboard, I often don't like AC outlets near the headboard, simply because I don't want electrical EMF or EMR radiation wire, because there might be wires. I don't know how they run the conduits. If it's a metal conduit, then the electromagnetic radiation from the wires will be less. But if it's not a metal conduit, then you have, EMR extending from the wires. I don't know why they always make beds like this, but it would be nicer to not have a corner here. It's so easy to harm yourself on the corners. And they gave us a desk chair. This table is just fantastic. A nice round table, beautiful chairs, beautiful here. And then this is the door into the bathroom. Very elegant bathroom. Of course, we haven't made it so elegant, but nice bathroom. You can see this window basically separates the shower from the rest of the bathroom. So the shower is an electric shower head. So you turn the water on just slightly and you can adjust the temperature of the shower head here. We just leave it on high and then turn the water on. Electric shower heads don't use a lot of electricity. They're super efficient. But at the same time, if you want hot, you're going to have less water flow, because the way you get it hot is by having less water flow. So water flows more slowly through the electric shower head. Therefore, the water becomes hotter as it flows through. If the water is flowing through quickly, you get more water flowing through, so more water on you, but you can't get it up to a significantly warm temperature. They've done a really superb job with this inset right here. And these are glass, making it look very elegant. And then there's screws just underneath here, so you can pull out the glass to clean them. They gave us bathrobes, so that's what this is, and this is for the towels. It would have been nice to have a towel rack right here, just to dry one other towel. When we had clothes we wanted to dry, you can actually move this. So we moved this towel rack into this room and put it in front of the air conditioning unit, connect just kind of like resting against the window, and that allowed for us to dry clothes with the air circulating from the air conditioning unit. Very nice. So they have a mirror right here, two lights. This is also a skylight. Amazing. Very, just the thought that went into this is very high. This is a translucent glass, and then here we just have a transparent glass. So and it's at this appropriate height that nobody can see your bits. But you do still get some light from outside. So a lot of light in here. Very nicely done. No heat at the sink. Beautiful sink. One of these types of sinks resting on top. And very nice here. They even gave a basket with a hairdryer. And over here, another basket. So very simple, but very well done. This is the toilet. Unfortunately, in these environments, they don't think about the venting of the sewer system. So in a lot of Brazilian homes, not in apartments, but they vent the sewer system into the house. So you can see this is a drain. This is like a vent, but it's also a drain. So if you were to wash this floor with water, the water would go down there, but unfortunately it's also the vent for the whole system. So if we at night, because the past few nights we've had moonlight and we prefer keeping our sleeping area as dark as possible, we close this door, but if you close this door, sewer gas fills this room. So when you come into this room, it smells like sewer gas. So toilet, it's always nice having one of these bidet shower heads. I've been using those more recently than paper towel. And I guess as you get older, you know, I didn't realize because I never kind of grew up with them. But I've been using that a lot more, and I really like that. There, you can also get travel bidets, so I now travel with a bidet as well. It's like an electric bidet you can buy on Amazon. It's a much better experience than previously. So I've been using that, whereas previously in the past I found no use for it, but it's actually quite useful. And I'm glad that they have them in places like this. So a nice door, nice thick door. They painted them. This structure is brick, and it's beautiful brick. I think they put an impermeable layer on this. I don't know what type of layer, but they often put the bricks and then they put like an impermeable paint layer, an impermeable layer of something they sort of paint on here. So very nicely done. The tiles, same tiles on the floor are there, and that's the beautiful skylight with the two lights. So nice for the way they did the toilet paper and the trash can for the bathroom here. So this house has been painted black. This house is a brick and steel frame. In the morning and during the day when there's a lot of sunlight, it heats up the steel frame, and they painted it black. So at like, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning when the sun's rising and heating up the steel frame, you suddenly hear all these cracks and these big bangs, and that's because of the warping and reframing of the steel frame with the heat. Now, over time, that will cause structural damage. They could have minimized that by painting the frame white a little bit, and the structural damage would have been less. It's nice with black. They could have painted it white, and there would have been less damage over time. But you can hear all these like warping and cracking sounds, these banging sounds with the steel frame. So nice here to have another shelf, and it's fine having electrical outlets there. And then of course you want to run them, you don't want to run them down. What else here? I don't think there's much else. This is just, yeah, all right.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. So
see you next.
see you next time. Oh, one other thing. And it's just the same tiles that were placed like everywhere. Of course, that's less expensive. You use the same tiles because you can probably get a discount. So one wall painted. So there's like three types of textured surfaces here. There's the painted wall. There's the brick, which they put in an impermeable, something impermeable, an impermeable liquid that they painted on there, and then the tiles and the separation, the grouting separation between the tiles is appropriate separation. If you buy incorrect spacers, you'll have incorrect separation. But these tiles have been separated correctly all throughout the entire house. We asked them who they had monitoring, and they said they had a construction manager, and the construction manager I think did a good job. Another one thing about this, the baseboard here, it's thin, it's not so thick. Sometimes people select stones that are much thicker for the baseboard, but the baseboard here is very thin to protect the wall, so I thought that was kind of nice. And then they added a little bit of clay or material here, cement, and then painted it. I can't quite tell. I was kind of curious as to why they did this with the AC outlets. With the AC outlets, you can see the one is like this way, and the other is this way. I don't quite know why they've inverted the two. But the positioning, it's nice. For some people, they like having lights. Yeah, we have to go. So, all right, that's it. Ciao, everyone. Take care.
We'll see you.
All right, we'll see you.
next.
Bye.